Back when Chevy was on coke and was funny.
When he was funny. That was just it, yeah. A son of a bitch, but still funny.
I saw him interviewed just within the last couple of years, and he's gone. He's lost it.
Have you seen a picture of him just recently?
Yeah, he looks terrible.
Oh, God.
He looks terrible.
I mean, we all age and we gain weight and shit, but he looks like a blowfish that just woke up from a nap.
He looks like he looks like he ate Dan Aykroyd.
Dan's so pissed.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Rock and Roll, the podcast, featuring Dr. Nick Redbone, Tom Nelson, this delicious jar of pickled eggs, and me, Rock Jackson. The show is brought to you by
Power Plant Car Audio and Accessories, PowerPlantWeb.com.
We got a set.
Yeah, check this out.
Look at this.
We didn't increase our budget at all.
No, just found shit in my basement, basically.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Bravo. Let's hear about it.
I've got to say, though, it's messing with my feng shui a little bit, but I'm kind of liking it, though. I mean, it's
What do you mean? Like just because
It's different.
Yeah, because normally we look, we're used to having the podcast look like shit.
Yes.
And now we have possibilities. First of all, this red, is this chenille? This very
texture is
fancy.
lovely.
Yeah.
This is they're sold out of black variety.
Oh, is it from Walmart?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So one of the top designers.
Yeah. I think it's Better Homes and Gardens.
I got you.
Well, red
Or Mainstays. Could be Mainstays.
It could be Mainstays.
Oh, Mainstays is good, but red does cry harlot, but that's okay.
I like the red. You guys can piss off.
How old are you?
Old enough.
The red cries harlot. It reminds me of the trials. and now that we have this behind us, and truth be told, it's Brock that does all the video editing, so this could turn into a nightmare.
In fact, right now, it's probably outer space.
Or cats.
Or cats.
You know what we should do is make the first one just wood paneling. like it was before. You admit it, you missed the wood paneling.
Welcome
people.
to Rock and Roll the Podcast, brand new set, episode 27. Episode 27.
Wow.
And today,
This is where it dies.
This is where it dies. We got the new set. This is where it's all over.
Yep.
You know what's great about the table? It hides our bellies.
I was going to say that. You read my mind.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the YouTube stuff and I'm going, oh man.
Yeah.
I need a diet so bad.
Well, and
I gave up years ago.
the last episode, when I got up, one of the jokes was made, and I ran up to the camera and ran back. When I turned around, I realized I have no ass at all. Now, mind you, I don't think I need one to do Rock and Roll the Podcast.
Brought to you by Power Plant.
on Kimberly Road in Twin.
Like and subscribe. But it looks silly when people see that I don't have an ass. So from now on, I just want to hide. I'd like to hide as much of me behind this and the special effects as possible.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm always sagging in the back, because I have a tiny ass and a huge a huge almost everything else.
Okay.
Way to qualify that. Otherwise, you're just bragging, man.
Right. Boy, it got really uncomfortable in here, didn't it? So this episode, it's almost like I'm going to talk about something that I dedicated so much of my life to and then unfortunately have to bury it, because we're going to be talking about a format, a musical genre that is commercially nearly dead. Culturally,
was it ever thriving?
It had a minute. We're talking about
a hot minute in the 70s.
Yeah, this is prog rock, progressive rock, which it got its roots are in the mid 60s, the late 60s. Mm-hmm. And Tommy and I were talking about this before we got in front of a microphone with the idea about where prog rock starts. And we'll have to define it too. Mm-hmm. I guess the definition of progressive rock would be it's generally
terrible garbage. 17 minutes a song.
And that's been Rock and Roll the Podcast. Please like and subscribe.
I'm too much of a pop music guy.
Yeah.
I don't get it. But mad respect to those who enjoy it, and even more mad respect to those who can play it.
Yeah, and that's exactly why. I mean, I might be jumping ahead here, but that's exactly why a lot of quote unquote regular listeners and critics didn't like it, because it wasn't a formulaic, in that sense, what people were used to.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
So you're not alone, bro.
Yeah, progressive rock is rooted in it was guys that were into, they kind of took psychedelia, the psychedelic jam rock of the Dead and the Allman Brothers and whatnot, and then married it with sort of jazz sensibilities, classical music sensibilities, where compositionally it would get a little bit bigger, it would get longer, the instrumentation would become a little bit more complex, and it just built and built and built from there. The themes would get a little bit more, it wasn't there, you didn't get a lot of "Ooh, I love you babies" in prog rock.
In 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. There were intros.
2.5 minutes is the intro.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's actually the pre-intro to the intro, to the grand intro, which then has, 2 intros.
Well, and Tool has gotten away with it a couple of times.
Yeah,
they'll crap out a 12-minute song and we'll play it because people love their Tool.
Yeah, right now Tool is probably the most, as far Tool and then in a distant second, Dream Theater would probably be the 2 most visible prog rock bands on the scene right now.
Right.
Past that, and I should say there are oodles of prog bands out there, tons of them, but every single one of those guys has a day job. I mean, that's just kind of where it is now. Prog rock, I think the first prog rock album, and Tommy, this is what you and I were talking about, doesn't it, using what we just said, where it's more instrumentally advanced, where compositionally it's a little bit more advanced, maybe the themes run longer. Wouldn't you have to say that Sgt. Pepper?
Yep. Pet Sounds
by the I almost said the Beastie Boys, by the Beach Boys, and Frank Zappa's first record, Freak Out, which was the first rock double album ever, and he of course took the idea of rock as composition to the nth degree.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where it started. And considering and there are bands that would be considered prog rock that don't fall into the weird noodly category that are still very listenable. Pink Floyd was considered a progressive rock band.
Going even further back, Yardbirds.
Okay.
You could throw them in there. The Birds themselves.
Right, for sure.
I think you could put the Doors in there.
Okay, sure. I mean, how long is the Riders in the Storm? Isn't that or is it the end that is such a...
Well, the end is really, really long.
Right.
That would be more in the prog category. And Profane well. We won't get into that, but...
Which was Profane?
The end.
Oh.
Brock just wants to know all the dirty parts of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You have to understand, Brock's going to get very confused as we go further on into this podcast. As a matter of fact, I would love it if you could like and subscribe, and then in the comments, put a time index about when you first saw absolute confusion on Brock's face.
Hint, it already happened.
I look that way all the time.
Love the new set.
Yeah, real nice new set.
So,
and
I guess I've said this before in previous podcasts. I was in a prog rock band for 15 years. So, I can, and that's why it's almost a bummer to talk about prog rock as a dying entity past tense, because I spent hundreds of hours, maybe thousands of hours in the studio making that music, played millions of notes, and that was just one song.
Well, but do you really think that it's a dying art form?
Well, as far as
it's never been something that was in the mainstream. It's always been that weird thing that those people get into.
Right, and that's the thing. I think we have to separate what as an art form. No, like I said, there's lots of guys with day jobs making great prog rock, but none of them are making any money. It hasn't been commercially viable since I can think of maybe at their height. I can think of 2 bands that would be considered classic prog rock bands that ever made any money. Yes, and Emerson, Lake and Palmer for a minute, because they were doing big stadium shows. But past that, Dream Theater is still doing it. They're still on. Well, they're not on the road now. But in a post-COVID world, they will be back out on the road.
Rush,
absolutely. Rush for sure. And that slipped right under my radar. But Rush also knew where to draw the line. That's the thing with prog rock. It's where you decide to draw the line almost decides whether you're going to get paid or not to do it.
Yeah.
Because Yes started to make money, real big money, 80s money, when they found their pop sensibilities. Yeah. With the Beverly Hills 90210 OU812 whatever album it was. The album was named after the record label's record number, like by the item number. But that's the one that had.
That's what they named it. Okay, I got you.
It had Owner of a Lonely Heart on it, which was a #1 hit and was on the charts for ever.
Sure.
Still play that on the Soccer Mom station.
Yeah.
You're not. Are you playing Balance? Is that on Balance?
Oh
Rock?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, you for sure. You actually have I've
several prog cuts.
Yeah. Rush knew where to draw the line too. Rush went about as far as a prog rock band could go, especially a 3-piece prog rock band, when they reached right before Power Windows. And then Moving Pictures after that. Moving Pictures is still prog rock with 4-minute songs.
Yeah. You're having your cake and eating it too there.
Yeah.
Everyone is. You know?
mean, if you listen to Tom Sawyer or listen to Spirit of Radio, there's a lot of weird time signatures, a lot of weird textures, a lot of crazy playing, but it's got a hook you can sing to, and it's radio friendly. It's 4 minutes long.
Yeah.
So, but it's the other bands that really stretch out. And those are the ones that are almost, God, I hate to say it, but it's almost impossible to listen to. It's just so much. And it makes sense too for you to be as poppy as you are.
Yeah, there's no question I lean a little more into pop when it comes to rock.
For sure.
I like the poppier stuff. I like a hook. I like a 3-minute song.
Sure. Yeah.
So to sit me down in front of a band that's going to use 42/38 time signature for 18 minutes. I don't have the attention span.
It's too much.
Yeah,
it's too much.
I just can't do it.
Yeah. The band that I was in, we did 3 albums. We did a couple of demos prior, so that's about an album's worth of material. But we really got into it on our first album. It was called Alpha. The second album was The King and the Thief. The third album was Conflict. The first 2 albums, a hallmark of prog rock bands was the ability to do concept records, where every song tells a story, and one album is like a musical movie.
Exactly, yeah.
We did that. The first Alpha and King and the Thief were 2 records to cover one big, ridiculous story. Now, I can track it. I can listen to it and know exactly where we are in the story. I don't expect anyone else to.
Yeah.
Now, would you consider like Avatar? Would you say they kind of dive into the prog rock world?
I would say they do, just because they're into playing kind of characters, and they're and the music is very well played, very well produced. Those guys are great players. I mean, they're not just bashing things out. I've even heard, like, as I pick it apart, I hear little hallmarks of prog, like some odd timing and some odd tuning, and they're getting their musical rocks off, but they're another band that figured out how to get it on the radio.
Yeah.
And that really is the secret.
Well, yeah, I think that's one of the reasons, prog rock didn't really progress, is because, it didn't fit the formula.
Yep.
It's all about the money.
Absolutely.
And it's the shorter singles. It got to get the airplay,
Yep.
No radio station wants to play, 10-minute songs one after another.
Yep.
It's not going to happen, man.
And it was so, I mean, the prog that made it, like when they had their window of opportunity to get noticed and get in front of people, they just took it so ridiculously far. Yes, they have one album that has 3 songs. It's a full-length LP, and it has 3 songs on it. How far up your own butt do you have to be to think people are going to continue to buy that? Now, if you want to play it, that's great. If it's going to be your hobby band, and that's what you want to do to get your musical rocks off, by all means, do it and love it. But don't expect to get paid doing it, because look, even in the 70s, attention spans weren't that long, much less now.
That's exactly what I was going to say. This is about tracking an album and enjoying it.
Yeah.
And in that environment, maybe happened a little bit more often than it does today, because today it's all about instant gratification.
Right.
And it's just go, 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 go. So I think that factors into that too, psychologically, as far as a listener goes.
And I love the idea of concept albums. You don't have to be a prog rock band to do a concept album. Best concept album of the last 20 years. American Idiot.
Yep.
A brilliant effort that became a Broadway musical. I mean, so good. Tom Petty did one. The Last DJ was a concept album too. So, the idea of telling stories isn't necessarily prog rock. It's how you do it that's prog rock. When you get into the, like you said, the weird time signatures, the huge long extended intros and solos and whatnot. If you're a musician, you'll probably dig it. If you're not going to get it, and you're not going to choose that for yourself. I think about our when we were knee deep in doing Fool's Bane records. How patient the people in our circles had to be, because we would force that on them. Hey, listen to what we did. Well, I'd like to, but I only work for 3 more hours. You know what I mean? It was.
Well, I mean, you're a good example of how far up your own ass you have to be to pull off prog rock.
Like and subscribe. He's my friend.
That's what friends do.
Yeah, and I've talked to a lot of
That was
bands.
like a left turn straight into like emotional cruelty.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Wow.
Well,
It's like you pinned me down, had people hold me down, and then danced on my balls and lower abdomen.
That is
Farted
there's
on
a
your
title
face.
for a prog album right there, Emotional Cruelty.
Emotional.
An album is being born as we sit
As
here.
we speak.
Well, it's funny you talk about how the overall attention span of the general public today very well could play into the fact that prog rock is dying, because one of my favorite questions to ask a band is how delivering music today, it's so different from even 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to tell a story, because there's a lot of bands that try to use the album to tell their story, like a concept.
For sure.
And, I've asked a ton of them, how hard is it now to tell that story when you've got people, instead of going to the record store to buy your album as one product, they're jumping on YouTube to listen to this song, or they're listening to this song on this Spotify playlist. It's so much harder for a band to tell that story.
Yeah,
And because
it is.
that's so important to prog rock. I don't think there is a prog rock album that isn't somewhat of a concept record. You know?
I would agree.
Yeah.
And going even further, there are bands that have kind of snuck it in as like before you know it, you're listening to a prog rock band. Mastodon is a great example. Mastodon, they have found their radio friendly. When they get if they dropped an album today, we would play at least 2 singles from it on the way out.
Yeah.
For sure. And it's only building with those guys. But they're very much a prog rock band. They had an album, I can't remember the name of it. Is it Crack the Sky? It's Crack the Sky. Crack the Sky is it's 2 stories going on at once. One about the Russian Revolution with the Tsar being dropped, and then in parallel, a story about a handicapped kid who can astrally project.
Sounds like prog rock to me.
Exactly. But if you don't tell them that, they just think they're listening to this badass, interesting band that doesn't sound like anybody else and has 3 different singers. It still rocks. You can still get in the pit with it. Yeah. But, they snuck it in on them.
Have you ever bought like a mainstream, an album from a mainstream artist and realized that they were actually doing that, making it prog? Like I bought Styx Paradise Theater.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
It's got some hits on it.
Yeah.
And then you track it, it's like, hey, this is a concept album,
it's another one that's damn near a Broadway musical.
Yeah.
I know,
but not as good as Cats.
No, Cats is. Has there ever been a prog rock album turned into a Broadway?
There's one.
Cats.
And who wrote that?
Most people don't realize that Queensryche wrote Cats. That's where Silent Lucidity came from. Most people don't know that. Go ahead, look it up. Put it on your Wikipedia. Like and subscribe. Power plant. Power plant. Power plant. Power plant.
The clap.
I like the clap.
I don't like the clap.
You like the whole thing.
I don't like any of it. I just think it's terrible.
Like that's the first time you've had the clap.
Boom, boom.
I was waiting for that, man.
You bet. Yeah.
You want to hear a story about the clap?
Yep.
I know a gentleman who decided that he was going to break up with his girlfriend.
Okay. Do I know this guy?
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
And I'm not dropping names.
Okay.
It is one of the most awful things any person has ever done.
Okay.
So he disappears. He goes out to a music festival, we'll say.
Yep.
And decides to hook up.
Yep.
Comes back to town. He and his girlfriend get back together. He doesn't realize that he's already caught the clap.
Oh, good.
From his fling.
Now he's made a friend.
Instead of telling the girlfriend, he used the medication as part of the Parmesan cheese on top of her spaghetti.
Oh, hey, delicious.
Remember, If you think you know the worst person in the world,
You don't know that guy?
no, you don't. No, you don't. This spaghetti is grainy.
Eat up. Eat up, woman.
Eat up. It'll get rid of
Is
that
this
itch.
imported Parmesan? What is this? Yeah, it's imported, all right.
Yeah. All the way from Bonnaroo. Yeah.
Botter. Do the Pattersons live there?
It's an Artie Patterson
Artie
production.
Patterson.
Yeah.
Artie Patterson gave me the clap.
He did Bonnaroo before he came up with Coachella. Arnie's been a busy guy.
He's been a busy guy.
Oh, God.
Now, back to the question. Did I ever have somebody sneak prog rock in on me? I went to that Telluride Blues and Brews Festival. And now, mind you, everything was pretty prog because I was pretty high.
Now, was this the one where you saw Robert Plant?
Yes.
Okay.
But there was one band called the Marcus King Band. And I mean, he gets up on stage looking very Southern rock, big hollow body electric, his cowboy hat. He's a young kid, but super talented. Black horn section. I thought, okay, this will be, okay, I know what I'm in for. Their opening thing was like a 10-minute jazz fusion jam thing. Straight up prog rock. I was like, I did the RCA dog at it. I was like, oh?
Was it?
Yeah. But it was totally cool, and they made a fan out of me. That's not all they do, but there was just a hint of it, and maybe he only does it in his live set. But surprise! Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and players like some of that stuff, like musicians, guitar players, bass players, drummers, whatever. We will gravitate towards it for a minute because the performances are so redonkulous. I mean, the prog rock players, especially today.
Did you just say redonkulous?
I did.
Okay.
It's a good word, especially when you're using it to talk about prog rock.
Are you bagging on prog rock again? It feels like he's bagging on prog rock.
I'll always bag on prog rock. It's garbage.
Do you remember the part? Let's rewind for a minute.
Yeah, sure.
Do you remember the part where we said that I played in a prog rock band for 15 years?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you're still one of my best friends, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I listened to your albums.
No, it's fine.
You gave me those
It's
albums,
fine.
and I will listen to them as a friend. But the genre as a whole, and I don't know that we've really established from the ground level what makes prog rock prog rock.
The songs are adventurously long.
Mm-hmm. Odd time signatures,
Odd time
possibly.
signatures. Yeah. They're always so technically challenging.
Right.
Very few people.
Kind of mathy and nerdy in a way if you were
So
talking
much.
in a classroom setting, right?
So much
Sure.
so. Yeah. The prog rock musicians are like the chess club, calculus
It's
club.
like the science Olympiad of rock and roll.
That's exactly what it is. But meanwhile,
Revenge of the Nerds time.
right. And the bands that are making hits and getting laid are smoking weed in the parking lot.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And that kind of music will also tend to have, layer upon layer upon layer of stuff. It just gets bigger and gets symphonic and gets enormous.
Mm-hmm.
And there are bands right now that are literally using symphonies and whatnot. Nightwish is a great example of a proggy band that almost sounds like opera. Because they've gone so far with it, so symphonic.
And I wonder if prog rock, though, back in the day when it first kind of got started in the 60s and whatnot, it also was a visual thing that was kind of new. And supposed to people, that's another element to it. I mean, if you think about it.
And whatnot.
Yeah, because, instead of guys, standing around in matching suits,
Right.
and
That's true. They started to get, but
that's also an element.
they were costumed. For sure, they were costumed. If you look at old stuff, Rick Wakeman in his cape, here's where it went wrong. Allow me. You don't get to wear a cape. You don't get to wear a cape.
Capes.
You don't get to wear a cape on stage.
Why?
Unless you're Batman, you don't get to wear a cape on stage. No cape.
Tell that to James Brown, man.
Huh.
And I should
Come on.
I should clarify too my hate, and it's not even hatred, but the prog rock thing I don't get into is the Tool prog rock of the world. You bringing up Rush, and yes, I hadn't even thought of those bands as being prog rock. Now that you say that, obviously they snuck one over on me.
Yeah. Right.
But as far as the attitude that comes about with the Tool record, where we sat there and waited for 13 years. That was close.
Careful.
Close. And then Maynard drops it, and now everybody's supposed to eat it up. And his interviews, it's, I'm so artsy.
Yeah.
I'm the greatest artsiest artsy.
And here's the thing. Everybody did eat it up.
Of course they did.
13 years they made us wait. That album dropped. The album was number one. The single was number one.
Oh, yeah.
And so we got stuck playing in peak rotation, a 10-minute song.
10 minutes and 47 seconds for being specific.
As a radio programmer or a live talent, it was a nightmare.
You've got to have some of that stuff happen to you on Balanced Rock, too, though. Because in the day, that wasn't real uncommon. The 3-minute song, it's almost like the 3-minute song went away late 60s, and then it came back in the 90s. But,
yeah, it's true. Yeah, I would say that on Balanced Rock, there's a 3 or 3.5 minute song is a shorty.
Oh, for sure.
It probably averages more like 5. But we've got stuff, that I slip in when I need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, see.
The bathroom song.
If nothing else, we've got some Peter Frampton live, which is like about 13 minutes.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's a good pooping song.
It's a great pooping song.
Yeah.
Pooping songs.
Pooping songs.
Pooping songs. Pooping songs.
Look, it's a prog rock song.
With a clapper.
With a clap.
He's got the clap.
I think
he feels so icky.
I think the clap is appropriate there. But going back to the jingle, it just doesn't work.
You just don't like that jingle, just period.
No, that's the truth.
That's exactly
It's god awful.
You just hate it. You hate it. Now, when you had asked me, Tom, where if it had ever made it to Broadway, if a prog thing had ever made it to Broadway, where prog lost its way and why prog deserved to have punk rock come along and stake it like the presumptuous vampire that it was. Rick Wakeman, from the keyboard player from Yes, went out on his own and did Camelot, a prog musical on ice.
Oh, God.
On ice?
Look it up. It is the most awful thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, that's so weird that I kind of want to see it, though.
Yeah, it's a car crash. It's so awful. It's guys like how you can have somebody walk, but they have like the cardboard horse body around them, right? So underneath it's the legs, and they can pretend they're riding it. Okay, imagine a bunch of dumb sons of bitches dressed like that on ice skates, and in the background a keyboard solo. Not even keyboard, organ.
It's like Disney on Ice on crack.
Yeah. Dude, look, there's no amount of drugs to get through that. And God knows I have tried.
Is this something you can still find on YouTube?
I'm sure you can.
I had never heard of that before.
Look, if you can find the Nuremberg trials, you can probably find Camelot on Ice by Rick Wakeman.
Camelot on Ice.
Oh, that just sounds wrong.
My afternoon is Camelot on Ice.
It's just awful. It's the most terrible, presumptuous thing you've ever seen. Now, I can find prog rock, even as picky as I am now. I can find stuff that I still enjoy. And there were bands that did have some chart success. Queensryche's Operation Mindcrime is a concept record, and they got fairly proggy with some of their time signatures, their drumming and their guitar work. But Dream Theater, the biggest prog rock band in the world, had one hit, and I don't think it cracked top 20.
Yeah. Dream Theater that might be the band that breaks the mold for me, though, because I can sit and listen to Dream Theater all day.
Wow.
And I don't know why.
Is it they're doing something right. Yeah. I wonder if it's because the melodies are something that makes sense.
Well, I think they're a little more hooky than your average prog rock band.
Okay, I can see that.
Tool, I've never, if you go back to, and I keep going back to Tool because I have a very limited knowledge of prog rock, and maybe that's my problem.
Right.
Maybe I just haven't spent enough time with prog rock. But Tool, you can listen to a song for 13 minutes and I can't find the hook.
There is no hook.
Some of the old stuff like 46 and 2, there's a hook there.
Yeah.
But that was, the radio hit, and maybe I'm just not listening with that Science Olympiad ear like I should be. But with Dream Theater, I can sit and I'll find like a Dream Theater playlist on YouTube while I'm writing a morning show or something. Sure. I can just sit there and enjoy it for
no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you listen to, I just thought you made me think about with Tool. Prog rock bands aren't chasing hooks. They never are. They'll find like a concept or a musical trick that they want to take to the nth degree. Tool's song Lateralis has a Fibonacci sequence. It's all based on the Fibonacci sequence. The 1 + 1 is 2, 1 + 2 is 3, 2 + 3 is 5, and it extends that way. Okay. You're aware, you're a math guy, you know what Fibonacci is. So the Fibonacci sequence is built into the time signature and into the number of syllables or words in the verses. Once you know that, you go back and listen to Lateralis and you go, that's brilliant. But does anyone give a shit That's the question. Who's gonna?
They do.
They do.
They do.
And that's all they care about.
And
Anybody that recognizes it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And their fan base. But I can't go to my 16-year-old daughter and say, "Hey, listen, it's a Fibonacci sequence." She doesn't care. She's not going to buy that record.
She did love all of my filthy punk rock. That
She
I gave her,
loves she loves punk rock instead. So
she's I don't know. I don't mean to be breaking anything to you, but your daughter is a rebel.
and she's cooler than I am,
Yeah, she's cooler than all of us here combined.
pretty much.
But not as cool as these pickled eggs.
Delicious.
That's just so awful.
Generic brand pickled eggs.
That thing is
available now at your local blast store.
generic brand as opposed to the gourmet pickled eggs.
Remember,
These ain't no Clausen pickled eggs.
if you're looking for something that smells like shit and tastes like garbage, get that. And that thing,
This is our preemptive product placement.
that's
In
just
hopes of a budget.
yeah.
These are the number 12 pickled eggs.
Now imagine if you had a product that we would actually like to feature. We could put it right there in the product zone.
Pepsi, if you'd like to start providing us with Diet Mountain Dew, I'll give you my house.
Hey Samsung. Want to give us phones?
Phones would be good.
We're not going to get anything. We're not getting anything.
Hey, Fruit of the Loom. If you'd like to give us some underwear, okay.
Hey
that
Tom,
just got weird.
are you a speaking of underpants?
Yeah.
Because just like Prog Rock, I've lost interest halfway through the Prog Rock podcast.
Yeah, right. Yes. So let's talk undies.
Yeah, we hit the
undies.
guitar solo about 4 minutes ago, and I'm done giving a shit. Tom, are you a briefs guy, or are you a boxer briefs guy, or I mean, not that I've ever talked to you about your
Yeah,
underpants. But why
well,
not?
there's only one way to find out.
I'm not. Then I don't care. Please don't. Please don't.
no,
I thought you were going.
You've never yelled at me for bearing my shorts in your studio. It's happened on the air.
Yeah. But I couldn't
got
stop
weird.
you anyway.
In fact, I'm rocking Mario Kart undies right now. Would you like to see them?
No.
Okay.
Are they boxers or boxer briefs?
Boxer briefs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Tommy.
Oh, no, I'm a briefs guy. The less cloth down there, the
Oh,
better.
really? So like the tidy whitey?
Oh, they're not white.
Okay. Oh, so at least they're colored.
I like to color coordinate my outfits.
Okay. That's fantastic. So
Yeah.
I know looking at you right now, your underpants are probably blue.
And you know who gets to enjoy them? Nobody but me.
I'm a boxer briefs guy. I like the boxer briefs
Yeah.
because you know what? Here's the thing. I think of it as like having puppies in the front yard, right? Yeah. You don't want to give them too much room because they're going to wander out there and get hurt.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't want them pressed right up against the house because puppies need room to frolic. So I give them just enough room to get out and really enjoy being puppies. Oh,
Did you just hit?
Tom's got it. Tom's taking a call.
Hi, I'd like to order a number 2 and with extra MSG. You guys want anything?
Number
you know
12.
What? Yeah, you know what? Some pot stickers, pork pot stickers.
I'll get back to you.
When I can say pork pot stickers.
You know, we should have that phone on the table, just like the
makes it
late
look
night
more
talk guys.
official,
Yeah.
There we go. That's what we need to
props.
do. Yeah, you
We
guys
do.
give us ideas for props to add to the table because right now it's just here to hide how fat we are.
Is that a phone that plugs into the wall?
My God, it's like some sort of a dinosaur.
Look at that.
Careful. Look at that plug-in.
Dive.
Look, there's a switch on the side that says loud and off, which is also the same
no in
switch.
between.
That's the same switch I have. My PD loves it.
Loud.
Or off. Is there anything else we want to say about Prog Rock?
I think we're done.
It's
Okay.
very progressive.
Yeah, if you want, here, tell you what, shameless plug. Go on YouTube, look up Fool's Bane and the song "The Time Traveler." That's where we took it as about as far
Are
as
you
we
literally blowing your own band right
Yep.
now?
Yeah, absolutely. Don't worry.
Just wanted to make sure.
We still won't get paid. There's no way we're ever going to get paid for it. But the song it's a perfect example of everything we've talked about. It's 18 minutes long.
And for as much shit as I give you, mad respect to what you guys do in the studio.
Oh,
Or
thank
did
you.
in the studio.
Oh, yeah.
Because watching some of that stuff come to life
Yeah.
was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I've got your CDs at my house, and they're great, man.
Notice he said he doesn't listen to me. He says they're great. I've got them. They're great.
They're there.
They're great.
They're great.
As coasters.
They're right there next to Lawrence Welk. That's
Good
weird.
night. Sleep tight and pleasant dreams to you. And that's the sound of that's the music of your people.
Lawrence Welk.
Lawrence Welch. He's from that upper Midwest.
Yeah, I think
He's from the Dakotas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's somewhere in North Dakota. There's like a Lawrence Welk museum. No, not kidding. Somewhere back in my
Okay,
old, but
is there any way the green screen could have, for a moment, featured the Lawrence Welk Museum?
Sure.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I want that so much in my life.
You know what else is in North Dakota?
Huh.
Huge-ass animals for no reason. Not living animals.
Yeah, huge
structures.
huge cement
structure
animals.
Yeah. I come from home of the world's largest buffalo. There is the world's largest
Tatanka.
ostrich in Steele, North Dakota. There's the world's largest gorilla, I think, in Harvey, North Dakota. I think Minot might have a gorilla as well.
Okay.
There's the world's largest cow in New Salem. Would you like me to keep going?
No. That's okay.
That's very interesting, though.
It's not. That's why I've always wondered why they're there.
And that
Who
was
took the time to build a giant
Because there was
buffalo the
nothing
size
else
of a
there.
house? Because there's nothing else to do.
And that was your North Dakota moment. And on that note, it's time to wrap this up. Huge thanks to our amazing sponsor.
The world's largest buffalo.
Nope. Our amazing sponsor is Power Plant on Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. PowerPlantWeb.com for all of your car and truck accessory needs. Also, big thanks to this for not exploding. Please don't. I was pointing to the pickled eggs for our audio listeners. Please like and subscribe. Please share this with a friend. Share it with an enemy. We have fun doing it. And obviously, we're next week.
Hey, and we're at 67 subscribers last time I looked.
That's fantastic.
We're over the
blowing
hump.
it up.
We need to get to 100.
Please help us get to 100. So please like and subscribe and share it with somebody on YouTube so that we can get up to 100 because things start to change.
It's
once you hit
not
100.
even about the money. We just want a URL.
Yeah, so it can be
Or an Earl.
please,
or an Earl.
Or an Earl.
It's an Earl.
My name's Dr. Nick Redbone. That's Brock Johnson. That's Tom Nelson. Peace, love, and rock and roll. We're out of here.